Boston police, from the FBI, from all local news sources were all aggregated in one place. And I remember following it one evening after dinner with my laptop open at the dining room table, and then boom, seeing the headline across that feed that basically said, "We got our guy." And it was one of the most powerful uses of social that I've ever seen because of its real public utility in the moment. And I think Tyler and Rachel, you were providing a similar service, and kudos to you, Gordon, for tapping into that for insight and into what passengers really needed, and then making it a true two-way platform. I mean, I just think it's an extraordinary application of a tool that so many of us use for more casual purposes, but in this case, it really made a difference.
Yeah, I think the key is they were just, and Tyler and Rachel were one of, I think they were probably the top of the top, but there were so many people who provided feedback that were being monitored. Our guest experience team had people looking at social media to know, hey, we can do this to improve the guest experience, or a guest is saying I could use this. And again, you talk about what channels were used. I think social became such an integral part of help us in terms of what we could provide. And again, back on Tyler and Rachel, I don't know if Tyler, if you want to explain, one of the things you also set up was helping provide care packages to some of the other guests that maybe didn't have the same infrastructure support that you did. I think that's just a great story that maybe you should share, because I want to give full kudos to you two for that.
Yeah, so the way that came about, it was kind of a surprise to me too, to be honest. We were in Japan. I think it was a few days before Valentine's Day, and we were out toothpaste. We were out of toothpaste, and it had been 3 days, and I'm pretty sure we tried to cut open the last toothpaste and just scrub with our finger because there was so little. And I kept mentioning that on Reddit, and then there was this guy, his name's Drew. He lives in Yokohama. He's from the U.S. but lives there with his wife. And he said, hey, dude, if there's any way I can bring you a care package, let me try. And Princess had mentioned, hey, we're going to be able to get packages to you soon, don't know when. And we weren't really sure if we could get it or not yet, but the guy walked it over after work. He walked over a box, and I think there was toothpaste, Dr. Pepper.
Right now, with what's facing this country and the world, with Black Lives Matter, certainly. And I think that this crisis, I think, brought the best out of people, whether it's Tyler and Rachel or the person who made sure that Tyler got his care package. And it's like this whole pay it forward thing. To me, that even though one could say, hey, Princess, you need to do everything yourself. This is your thing. But you realize there's so many other advocates and supporters out there that want to help. And I think everyone struggles with the balance of what that share is. But I think if done properly, it embrace the help. World Central Kitchen, Jose Andreas's company, helped provide food towards the end of Diamond Princess and continued with Grand Princess. You have Tyler and Rachel, and I think there's something really incredible about all of the outpouring of support that came through. And to the extent that you can channel it, reduce the friction so it can happen with some controls, it's really makes a big difference. And that was cool.
You're both the Tauruses and you, Gordon, and the cumulative effort that all of you put in to communicating and giving and supporting and paying it forward and springing into action at a time of need strikes me as the very best that marketers can hope from a brand. And the recognition, if ever you needed to be reminded, that the power of the brand is held by the customers who cherish it or who are critical of it, but that the power of branding lies with customers. We as stewards of the brand, of course, can move the needle. We can certainly influence its direction, but the manifestation of a brand's power comes in its interaction with customers. And in this case, it just seems like perhaps the most extraordinary example that I have ever personally become aware of a brand that has been empowered by this extraordinary collaboration between customers and the people who work for the company, for the brand itself. And by the way, all in a time when it really is not an understatement to say this was a crisis. And I keep reminding myself, just for the sake of my own contextualization, that all of this was happening way before we had any of the knowledge that we've accumulated, even with so much more to learn today about this disease, its spread, its severity. Back then, it was such a dark and opaque curtain that we were trying to see through. And for all this to happen under those circumstances, I just think is extraordinary. And all of you, I think, certainly, Gordon, you've got a great story to tell. And boy, the Tauruses are going to have the best, hey, what was it like when you got married story? And hey, what happened on your honeymoon story? I mean, that's never going to get old. And when we're back to cocktail parties, the two of you are going to be the star of the show.
Right.
I think that
I wanted
that's a good point.
I wanted to ask another question. This may actually be an interesting question to get multiple perspectives on. Carrie Ann asks about what it's going to take for Princess and other brands to get customers back and to get past any of the stigma that was